It is Dailies today on 99.3 Nigeria Info. Yes, we're back on the radio. As promised, I will be back. Dailies today, part 2, is sponsored by MTN Nigeria. I'm Sheriff Quadry, and I have Jimi here with me.
Yeah, morning. How are you,
I'm
Sheriff?
doing okay.
How are you doing?
It's good to be here. It's good to be here.
Yes.
Just know that you can join the conversation on our socials. We're streaming live on Facebook and YouTube. Nigeria Info 99.3 on Facebook and YouTube. Nigeria Info 99.3. That is what you need to search for, all right, to be a part of this conversation. Many thanks to our sponsors, MTN Nigeria. Quickly, let's get into it. We start with the Punch newspaper. IG orders AIGs, CPs to sack, prosecute errant cops. That is a story from the Punch today.
Well, this is just an update on the SARS issue, and the IG has said that the officers should compile recent cases of violation of rights and so on and so forth. His directives are very clear, and he says that he's restricted the operations of FSARS, SARS, ILT, and STS, anti-kidnapping units, other special units under any nomenclature that operates in mufti across all formation zones and commands. And he says that any police personnel henceforth that abuses his or her powers in a manner that degrades, endangers, or threatens the lives and other fundamental rights and so on and so forth will have himself to blame. And then this is the part that I also like, says that such personnel could be charged in consonance with their level of criminal liability in the instance. What he means is that it might not end with dismissal. It might translate sometimes to maybe armed robbery, murder in case where deaths occur.
So if a crime is committed,
yes,
they'll be tried accordingly.
Yes. But you see, again, I hope this directive is not made in vain, because the IG has issued so many directives, and I still go back to there's a need to instill law and order in the Nigerian police. It doesn't exist. You go to a police station, it's right there now. The police is your friend. Bribe is not, bail is not
free.
It's free. Bail is not free. You go pay for biro, you go pay for paper, all kinds of things. So there is a need for us to have complete discipline has broken down.
Right.
And discipline has broken down because there's so many compromises. The junior ones, it appears, do not seem to respect their seniors anymore because of these compromises. You understand? I think everybody believes that the other person is on the take. So you will hear things as I got the take for up, make myself take for down. So it demands a complete overhaul, and we are moving towards a very chaotic society.
Right.
If we don't do something concrete, all these are what I will call administrative palliatives.
Yeah.
Just to pacify people. I'd like to see it work.
I had a conversation this morning, which will continue after Dailies today.
Yes.
And that's about this pronouncement, whether it will change anything in the police. Will this curb police brutality?
It will not, because the process from the onset is non-functional. The recruitment process, the caliber of people that you find, even within the police force now, sometimes some of them is quite questionable. You wonder how this gentleman never got, and what we ourselves have turned our police force into, because we are all culpable. We created this monster. We the people created this monster. We saw it grow, and we kept lapping it up and lapping it up. Now it's blown up in our face. And I hope that and that's why Femi Falana is saying here that he believes that all this is hot air. That Femi Falana, he said that the federal government responded by setting up a presidential panel of inquiry to investigate all complaints, and that Nigerians submitted reports, memoranda, gave clear evidence of police abuse, but the recommendations are yet to be implemented. The government itself is paying lip service. The vice president says he's annoyed. He shouldn't be annoyed. He should immediately swing into action. The vice president says he's angry. He should ask himself questions. What provisions have you made? How have you trained these people?
Right.
Okay.
Have you done your part? Have you
done
your
part? Discipline has collapsed completely.
Right. Jimmy, let's move on to another headline from the Punch newspaper. Akeredolu Sean's deputies handshake as candidates sign peace accord. It's a story from the Punch. So, with barely 4 days to the Ondo State governorship election, candidates contesting in the poll on Tuesday signed a peace accord to ensure a violence-free election. Incumbent governor and candidate of the All Progressives Congress, Rotimi Akeredolu, his People's Democratic Party and the Zenith Labour Party counterparts, and 14 other candidates signed the accord at an event organized by the National Peace Committee in collaboration with the Independent National Electoral Commission. Now, a mild drama, however, played out at the end of the event as Akeredolu declined a request by the Master of Ceremonies for him to either shake hands, touch elbows, or embrace his ZLP opponent, the state's deputy governor, Agbola Ajayi. Well, it was observed that the governor and his deputy earlier exchanged pleasantries with the PDP candidates, Itai Jagede, by touching elbows as requested by the MC. But when it was their turn to greet each other, Akeredolu declined and simply waved at Ajayi.
You know, this monster called politics, can turn... I've known Akeredolu all my life. Well, he was my classmate. We did A-levels together. And I followed a lot of his career till he became a senior advocate with the Bar Association. Akeredolu is, to the best of my knowledge, a complete gentleman. But this is what politics turns some people into. Right. Why would he not do this publicly? In the first instance, he should know he's a leader, he's a governor. Okay. At a time like this, when you're signing a peace accord that there'll be no violence, you want to use this opportunity also to tell your supporters to calm down and not resort to violence. Right. So the message he has sent to them, his own supporters, by what he has done, is that the war continues. And I'm very disappointed in him. I'm extremely disappointed in him. I've heard a few things also attributed to him that I found quite he's my very good friend, but I find this quite embarrassing. And I think politics it turns people into monsters. This is not the Akeredolu that I know. Akeredolu in school, the nice, peaceful, jolly good fellow. You need to see him dancing, fella. You'll be amazed. Even at his campaign, jolly good fellow. For him to not get to this point where, with all that, you wouldn't, at a peace accord, publicly, when you are asked to shake and even just for the symbolism. Right. So there is likely to be violence, and he might be held responsible because what you needed to do, you didn't do. But politicians, I don't know what breed they are made of. Look at the story that aligns with it. It says that Confucian, as the SDP candidate, you have a party called SDP. Yeah. The candidate suddenly yesterday supports Akeredolu, but the deputy backs Jegede. I mean, this is what in all honesty, this is why you find that sometimes people would say go into politics and you say no, it's a dirty game, it's this, it's that. We need to reform ourselves. It's not war.
Personal principles have disappeared totally, completely.
Totally. And the whole thing has turned Akeredolu into a monster. By the time the whole tenure ends, 2 years after he stopped being governor, maybe he's retired from politics and is now a lawyer in his rocking chair, holding his grandchildren. He'll be asking himself, what do you say I did? We need to be careful when we find ourselves in situations like this. Right. Some of the nasty things could rub off on you. And I am sure that reading the papers this morning, he might be asking himself that why didn't I shake this guy? Could they let you now? I'd never look.
Maybe even immediately after that event, he's asking himself.
Yes.
What did I do?
But I think he just got caught up in everything. But then again, also again with politics. Maybe some soothsayer had told him, he has something. Did you see the video that went viral? The video, I think it was the deputy governor of the PDP or so, who was it's billboard.
The billboard,
you saw that.
Yeah.
So maybe he was advised by the powers that be that, Excellency, don't go near the man. No. He has something in his left pocket.
Excellency. Oh my word! It's quite hilarious, really. It is hilarious.
Yeah, but it's sad that over time we turn these things into war. We can't conduct ourselves like gentlemen. We set bad examples for our children. It's a big pity.
It is indeed. We're due for a break, but before we do that, let's squeeze in some messages. Rotimi Akinyade Paul says, let me see what he says. He said, Jimi Goof this morning, kindly note that politics in Nigeria is a do or die. Akeredolu shunned Ajayi is not new, and to safeguard himself from any other attack. May the Lord be with them.
Well, I don't think we should just sweep what happened away because it's a symbolic thing. Send a message. You're talking of human lives here. Don't let's joke about this. The supporters will take from the body language of what has just taken.
We need to go to break, Jimmy. When we return, we'll take more stories. Stay here on Nigeria Info 99.3. You're listening to Dailies today. I'm Sharif Quadry and Jimmy Disu right here in the studio. We are back in a moment. Stay here.
My generation is unbreakable. We know they fear. For what? Till someone says, I will tell your mother.
Donatusu, put on your mask or else.
Wear it for her. Wear it for me. Everywhere you go, MTN. Spread the message, not the virus. Visit wearit4.me. My generation is unbreakable. We know they fear. For what? Till someone says, I will tell your mother.
Donatusu, put on your mask or else.
Wear it for her. Wear it for me. Everywhere you go, MTN. Spread the message, not the virus. Visit wearit4.me.
Dailies today.
Dailies today.
On 99.3 Nigeria Info.
Dailies today is back on your radio 99.3 Nigeria Info. Yes, let's continue with our conversation on the headlines this morning. Let's pick up the Vanguard newspaper. Missing boy in Ondo Church. Prophet Alpha. 5 others get life jail. That's Vanguard for you.
Oh, you remember the story?
Yes, I do.
The boy who went to church with his mom.
Mm-hmm.
What I just find worrying is that the boy or his body was never found. Neither was any explanation given as to where he could be. And I think that is a dent on our security, whatever. Fair enough, the prophet, Alpha, whatever his name is, he gets a life jail and others. But there is no closure for the parents.
No closure.
No closure.
No closure.
And I think that is something
no closure.
that we need to challenge the police to do. They do need to find what happened to that poor child.
Absolutely.
The lesson also, I'm going to plead with our people. I'm going to plead with you passionately. Be extremely careful about where you go for prayers, where you go to worship. Be extremely careful. Don't get carried away by all this TV evangelism and claims and so on and so forth. You need to be extremely careful. Left to me, if I were you, I'd go to your traditional place that you've been going to. Yeah. With all these new pastors and imams coming up claiming Islam and all kinds of things,
all kinds of names
and whatever, you need to be careful. Am I the call of Rubo? This is a church, big church. The boy went to church with his parents, with his mom, and now it is the owner of the church and the GO that is being sentenced to life. And people believe that it is possible that child was buried in the temple. So all these new religious bodies that are propping up, you need to. When I see some in the social media, there's some pastor in the East who comes up and does all kinds of theatrics, and I say to myself, people, you don't need to be. Some things are quite clear to you. You don't need to be told there's something.
And his church is quite full, by the way.
And his church is quite full. Throws money around and so on and so forth. And I keep saying to myself, people need to think. People need to think. It's not this difficult. One of the problems we have is we lack discipline to get close to God individually. That includes me.
We're quite lazy.
We're quite lazy spiritually. Yes, God is not hidden anywhere. It's quite there for everybody to see.
Right.
I don't know whether to say may the boy's soul rest in peace now, because we are not even sure what could have happened to him.
Well, it's quite a sad development.
Very sad development, because look, he's gone to jail for life. But what about the mom of the
closure
child?
is not there for them, because they still do not. I mean, that's a fact.
Yes.
They still do not know exactly what
has happened to the child.
Quite sad. Let's stay with the Vanguard. Lagos deserves special status. That's Vanguard for
Vanguard. I'd like to thank Vanguard for helping us Lagosians with this editorial, and we've been saying it over and over again. Lagos deserves a special status and needs special attention and special funding.
Right.
And the Vanguard brings out the reasons. The Vanguard says there are myriads of reasons for calling for a special status for Lagos. Apart from migration factor, Lagos still harbors a huge number of federal establishments and so on and so forth. I don't think we need to have an argument over that. The problem with Lagos is that it has not tidied up its affairs to make this presentation at federal level.
Will Lagos ever get that?
It is very unlikely, because the spirit of Lagos is not in most of our leaders in Lagos. The leaders in Lagos who have the spirit of Lagos have taken a back seat. These things are emotional. Okay, so if you don't have the spirit of Lagos, and that's why, you could see, look at the way Fashola governed compared to others. The spirit of Lagos was in him. Most people who come to Lagos see a state that they can plunder and can use that opportunity to get all that they want and then move on to their own states and so on and so forth. So Lagos we'd like to call on our elders in Lagos, the Oba, the chiefs, the top guns, and so on and so forth, the Uncle Femi Okunos, and so on and so forth, all to get together and let us try and push. Our state is going under. And I remember telling Ambode, just before this election, that when you become governor, Lagos cannot be a free-for-all. That is part of the problem. Lagos opens up his arms to, but by policy, you can ward some people off. The way I look at Lagos now is that anybody who can put 10,000 naira together in his pocket can take the last bus coming to Lagos, get down at K2 or get down at Water and begin to mingle.
That is what is happening.
That is what is happening. And there are ways by policy that you can prevent that from happening. Because Lagos is going under. The government can't cope, but the government is not willing to do the needful. For various reasons, varied interests. The attention of most people in power in Lagos is to see what they can grab. You can see it. It's to see what they can grab. What they can do to suit their own purposes. Let's sample this place and make it an El Dorado, want to make it a Dubai. At the end of the day, all this goes into the pockets of a few people. That's what's going on. And so Lagos is sinking. I'd like to use this opportunity also to call on the federal government to make up their minds about the federal government properties in Lagos. It's an eyesore, federal secretariat. Look at, for those who are within my age group will know, the old cabinet office. These are historical places. Racecourse is in a complete mess. Vagabonds, all kinds of people occupy these buildings. Make up your mind. If you want to preserve them, fine. If you don't want to preserve them, sell them. But Lagos Central, by the old Supreme Court is an eyesore. McCarthy Street, everywhere, is a complete eyesore. So Lagos actually deserves a special status. But what is missing is that those who really do have the spirit of Lagos have gone to bed, and Lagos is now full of opportunities who can grab all what they can and move back to wherever they're coming from.
Right. We're going back to the Punch right away. Abiodun gives Lakon 5 million naira house, names him ambassador. You're quite passionate about this. The last time we discussed it, you.
Yes, there's a problem with Dapo Abiodun, the governor. He's not a serious person. I can say that to his face. That is not how to be a governor.
5 million naira.
A man goes to play some game, which is a bit like for 6 weeks or so they were locked up in the place.
It's about 3 months.
A few indecent things happened in the place. I'm not running down Big Brother. Those who want to enjoy it are free to do so. But that doesn't make him an ambassador. Do you know what an ambassador is? A role model. People who excelled in the university, the Ogun State University himself, what did he give them? Those who came out with the first class, what did he give them? Those are role models. Okay, those who have achieved, young people who have achieved. I'm not saying I mean, has no reference whatsoever to the gentleman called Lekon or whatever his name is. You know, I don't have anything against him. It's none of his business what is happening. But the example that Kwabiodun is setting is completely irresponsible. You now give him 5 million. You give him a house. Excuse me. The opposition was saying sometime last week, you remember, that he had disappeared for a while and came back with a beard. Now we know where he was, because he gives details and says that, oh, he exhibited the Omoluabi something when he was in the. Excuse me, Excellency.
Maybe he has his definition of Omoluabi, what it means to be Omoluabi.
No, look, what is good is good, what is bad is bad.
It's clear, right?
Well, yes, this is not a matter of, Ogun State people, is up to them. Is this the state that Awolowo came from? This is a role model? This is an ambassador? Don't get me wrong. I have absolutely nothing against this young man.
That's Lekon.
Yes, he's free to take part. Indeed, I admire, in a way, I admire the fact that he was able to win through all the intrigues and so on and so forth. But we need to put things in its proper perspective, and I don't know where Governor Abiodun got.
Give him a handshake at best.
You don't even need to. It's just a game. I mean, it's just a game now. What? It's just a game.
Why should you ascribe so much importance to it?
So much importance to it. We do so in the area of sports, yes, because sports is development and so on. But this is just a game. This is more or less like gambling. It's just a game. Not to run the game down itself, no. But we need to get things right. What we need to do we need to promote our youth to be productive.
Right.
And the governor himself is just concerned with being popular amongst the young people. Because the truth of the matter, God. Let me just leave this one.
The truth of the matter is more political than being.
It even goes deep. It goes deeper. Our politicians
more than politics.
Our politicians are there. To be honest with you, our politicians are don't let me use that word.
Oh no.
No. But you see, the level of deceit that goes on in the political realm, where it's exactly what Trump is doing. You know, you try and get popular amongst the people, but you preserve your own. If this man was so passionate about this BBA, why didn't he send one of his own children to go and participate? Excuse me.
Maybe they tried
to set an example.
Maybe they tried. They just didn't get in.
Now, I'd like him to answer that question. Why didn't he send one of his own children to go and participate? You see, where I'm going is this. Our politicians are terrible. Their own children will be well ensconced in universities abroad, studying hard, getting PhDs, and so on and so forth. And then you go and deceive the masses. If a man is an ambassador, what does it mean? Other people should follow suit. Rather than look for things that will benefit them. You now want our youth to be thinking of this. You know, it doesn't. Next.
If you're watching on Facebook and YouTube, you would have seen Jimi's reaction.
I'm almost moved to tears because I have children and I have grandchildren.
Right.
And kini yoda now. It's not good. You play on sentiments of the young people, mislead them so you can be popular amongst them. It's not good. And there's Judgment Day. I mean, let's be honest. Let's be very honest with ourselves. Our elite are so wicked. Their own children are well ensconced wherever they are. But to get popular amongst the masses, you throw all kinds of things. It's like when they do all this empowerment and this and that.
Let's take one more story. We've got less than 2 minutes to take this last story. Abiru promises poverty alleviation. That's a story here from the Nation this week.
Well, I don't blame Abiru for promising what people expect of him. Okay, so he's promised them poverty alleviation and empowerment. But that is not his job as a senator. But I don't blame him. People need to understand what or who a senator or House of Reps member is, and you find that our politicians are not ready to educate them on that,
Right.
just give them what they want so I can get there.
Right.
That's why he would go on the rostrum to campaign and say he promised the people empowerment and poverty alleviation. Empowerment and poverty alleviation, from whose pocket is the money coming from? Because all this is cash.
Of course.
To give
of course.
pong and the lot and so on and so forth. The same deceit I'm talking about. Instead of you to educate your people that, look, when I get to the Senate, this is exactly what I'm going to fight for the general good, you have gone to say poverty alleviation and empowerment and welfare of the people.
Right.
And he says that the focal points in his tenure will be empowerment, poverty alleviation, and schools as acquisition. That's for the executive, not for the legislator.
Yeah, Jimmy, we have to go.
We have to go.
We must go.
Right.
Jimmy will be back at 9 o'clock for Dear Bumi, because that's what it is. I'm Sheriff Quadry. We're back in a moment.
My generation is unbreakable. We know they fear. For what? Till someone says, I will tell your mother.
Donatusu, put on your mask or else.
Wear it for her. Wear it for me. Everywhere you go, MTN. Spread the message, not the virus. Visit wearit4.me.